Well, hey family, this is Darlene. I got a couple of emails and I also got a post, a comment down here asking about this fake suede cord that I ordered off of the Big A. So the one lady was saying, well, why would you use the fake the fake suede for, your necklaces, being that they're so beautiful. So for me, I'm selling in quantities or bulk on fair, right? So this is my thought process. Now, however you want to sell yours is the way you want to sell yours and how you want to do yours. But for me, it's always cost efficiency is what I'm thinking about, right? So for me, let's say I'm the customer and it's noted in the description that the cord is fake suede, right? However, I don't care about it being fake suede. I'm looking at the hole, the area right here, and that tells me that, well, I don't have to have the fake cord on it. I can change whatever cord I want to put on here. If it's black leather, if it's leather 100%, if it's 100% cord, like whatever it is, or even a link chain. I can slide that right through that hole because it's big enough for me to do that. Because the pendant is quality. The pendant is quality. And even though the cord is fake suede, right? It's fake suede, but it still gives a quality look. It doesn't look it doesn't look cheap at all. It gives a really nice look. So it's all about figuring out. That's even like with this one. It gives it a really nice look. So it doesn't cheapen the quality or the look of the pendant. Not at all. And that's why I make these little bevels. I think they're called bevels. I make these little part so large right there. So if a person wants to just buy the pendant, they can put whatever kind of, cord on here they want, leather, chain, whatever it is that will fit through here. And they have a very unique piece. And then I was asked how many of these come in a package. So there's about 30 of these, and it says that it's 30 colors. It's really not 30 colors. A lot of these are duplicates. So when I see it's like double, like double of the same. So some of these, like when I like maybe the pink, something is double because the brown, I think. Well, no, maybe it is 30 colors. So we have, let me look. So these are brown, and then we have this one. So let's see how many color browns we got. That's that one. And then this is the same brown. Actually, it looks a little brighter. So if you look at it, that does look like four different colors of brown, right? It looks like four different colors of brown to me. However, the two here in the middle, they could be brothers, like really, really easy. So we have those. And then if you look at the pinks, fuchsias and the pinks, and let's see what else is there. These two right here. And then maybe this one. They look like they could all be the same. Well, a couple of them, but I do see a different in shade. So you can see that they are different in color. So I guess it is maybe 30 colors. So that's for the pinks. And then there is some purple. I think this is a dark purple. And then you got this as a purple. This one. And then we have this one. Oh, see, even like these two right here. Well, this is a red. This pink right here would have went well with these other pinks. So when we talk about purple, this is what we have for like the purples. So I guess it would be about 30. So we got those. And then you get the idea. So even with these, they look exactly alike to me. Now, to me, they look like well, this one looks like it's brighter than this one right here. And then you have the turquoise. I guess this would be in the turquoise family here. And then here's another brown, dark, 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 dark brown. So that would go with the first browns that we had. And then you can see all the other colors here, like the yellows, the green, This one looks like, and then this one is, this is even a brown too, but this is a brown, so brown that it almost looks black. And they only have one spool of black, or maybe, and this is navy blue, and then one red. So I guess it is like 30 different shades. Oh, how cool that is, right? So 30 different shades. And then for me, and I think these were, let me look on here and see. I want to say they were about $20, but let's look at it and see. So if we got 30 of them, and I can do pretty good with these as far as using the cord to finish off necklaces, because there is so much cord. And it says 30 spools of fake leather laces for crafts 2.5 millimeter. And, oh, and they call it vegan suede cord for beading, do-it-yourself crafts. And it's about 165 yards. And I paid $21.99 for it. So it is, even like when I look at the picture, there are different shades of so that's why I'm using the cord for these, because my thought was, I don't want to use 100% suede or leather. That means I would have to increase the price for each one of the necklaces that I am going to sell, be it on Fair, Etsy, or the website. So the idea is to, so like for Fair, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put these necklaces in groups of 4, and I'm going to sell them in cases for 4, right? So if I was to put the leather, the suede 100%, I would have to take up the price, right? So if you're a vendor or a retailer, you have a boutique, because many times people are jewelry makers, or, you know, they can dibble and dabble in it, and they know how to just change off a cord. You know, I mean, that's something that's really simple. So they will see the pendant and they want the pendant, and their whole mindset is, shoot, I'm gonna change off the cord. And if it's not a really expensive one, they don't mind doing it anyway. So that's the whole point for me doing that right now at this point, because I have a lot of different ideas for, you know, marketing the product and different things that I'm doing. And that's the reason for the fake cord, because she was asking me, well, why would you use that on? I don't think she meant anything by it. She was just asking a question. So that's that with the cord, you know, and I'm happy with the quality. And like I said in the other video, I made a necklace. I wish I had brought it in here. I did make a necklace, and I have been wearing that necklace. And for me, it stands up well. It hasn't faded. Nothing sheds on my clothes or anything like that. And I'm a black dress type girl. So I love wearing all black all the time, right? I do dipple and dabble in some color, right? But for the most part, I like black. And, you know, when this lays on the material black, you know, any and everything shine through, if it's not, you know, like dirt or something. But no shedding, no anything like that. It holds well, with the end part, like here. So on the back, you can see how I fold it over. I fold a piece over, and then I wrap the wire to close it off. And then I found too, like even with doing that, it lays really well. And then the wire hugs it good. So it's like really nice and snug. So it does just really well across the board. So I'm happy with the little purchase. But anyway, wanted to answer that question like really quick, for why. And I figure if she asked that, maybe somebody else wanted to know why I'm using a fake cord as well. So a lot of times that's what you got to do. You got to just kind of switch stuff up, make stuff make sense for you. I know one of I think it's June, said that she's getting ready to do like her first event. I think she said her first event. And if I'm wrong, Miss June, correct me. But I think she said she's doing her first event, a Mardi Gras festival. And she's a little nervous about it. And as far as I think she was saying like pricing. And if you don't have that price stuff down, like you think you should, the best way to do is to keep track of all your expenses. That's why you have to have a running tally of what you spend. And I think I suggested this one time before, find one source that you buy all your supplies with. It can be a specific credit card that you use. It could be only cash, but find a source, and that source is the only source that you use to buy your jewelry supplies, right? And then once you do that, you can keep a running tally of how much you spent. So let's say in a 6 months, in a 6 months period, you spent $400 on supplies, right? $400 on supplies. So what you did is you came out with a nice amount. You might have 100 necklaces, you might have 100 bracelets, you might, whatever your, your collection is at the end of spending that $400, right? So you put it all together. What are you pricing it at, right? You determine how much you want, like your labor. How much do you want to pay yourself for your labor, right? What do you want to get paid just for making the stuff? And it's a little difficult. I even have an ebook for cost structures, and I'll you know what, I'm gonna put the link down there. So the whole thing is, as long as on the back end you are making a profit and you are not in the negative. So if you spend $400 on all these supplies and you've already priced your product and you did all that, and let's say for instance Miss June, when she goes to her event, she already knows that her expense was $400 plus whatever she paid, let's say $600. That's her expense for the event, to participate, to make the product, to do all her labor, whatever, right? Now she gets there. She got everything all priced and everything. So let's say she came out making $1,600. So she basically made, I believe, what is that, $1,000, $900 profit. I think I said 600. So about a $900 profit because she's deducted her expenses from what she earned. So she basically made her money back plus some, right? So you go buy more supplies. And when you buy more supplies, you kind of starting over because you already made that $400 back. So you have expenses, and then after expenses, you have the earned income. You have what you earned, which was I think I said $1,100. So you're writing out your $1,100. Okay, I made $1,100, right? Okay, it covered my expenses, right? It covered my expenses, so my profit was $900. Now you're starting fresh again. Okay, well, let me go get some more product because I got another event coming up, and that's going to cost me $100. Okay, so you spend another $100 for your product. That's expenses. So you want to document that. Okay, so let's say you spend $100 on supplies, and then you go to the event, and that was another $100. So that's $200. Okay, so you spent your little $200. You go to the event. All you made was $50. That's a loss right there. That one is a loss because you didn't even make the money back for your supplies, and you spent $200. So it's basically a $150 loss, right? But if you think about it, it's not really a loss. And the reason why it's not really a loss is because what? You earned profit from the other event. You made a $900 profit. You see, so you made a $900 profit right there. So it kind of balances out, and it's a little complicated and stuff, but it makes sense if you keep track. So and this is how I do it. Now, somebody else might do it a totally different way, but my record keeping works for me. So my whole thing is I document expenses, I document my my expenses, and I document my expenses and my profit. So, and every time, and I use one card to buy all my supplies. And when I use that one card to buy all my supplies, it does not confuse me, right? So if I have one source that I'm buying all my supplies with, that's organization for me. Now, somebody else may be doing something different. I don't do it that way because it's too confusing to keep up with this over here. It's coming out my personal account. It's coming out my checking account. Is coming out of here. No, I'm not doing all that. So I have one card that I use to make all my purchases for when I'm doing the business for Jewelry by BDK. Okay, so that's how I do that, and I keep a running tally every time I absorb some expense. I document that expense, right? Every time I get an expense, I document that expense, right? So my profit, if I made $1,100 worth of profit right here, and I'm not doing any events anywhere, guess what's happening? My expense is packing up, but not my profit. So my profit stays the same at 1,100 because you haven't sold anything, you haven't did any events, you haven't did any of that. However, as long as you're buying supplies, jewelry, wire, all that kind of stuff, your expenses are totally, they're adding up. They're adding up. And if you think about it, with that profit that you made of 1100, that expense literally kind of eats at the profit that you made, because that's basically the money that you're using right there. So if you never sell anything or go to events or doing any of that, at some point it becomes a negative. It becomes a negative because you're not bringing in any profit. And I hope that makes sense. I know it is a little difficult, to understand, but the way I do it, I try to simplify it as much as I can for myself to make it make sense. So for me, all I do is write out my expenses. I keep up with my expenses. I keep up with my profit. When I sell what I sell on Fair, the website, the Etsy, and all that, it all gets documented as profit. So all those profit amounts get added up to give me a grand total down here. Now with my expenses, and then I have a column for my expenses, right? And I keep track of my expenses. And for me, I never want my expenses to outshadow or overshadow my profit. So that's why, and I think I've said that in videos before, that's why I won't go buy supplies. And it's like you got all kind of stuff that you can use. And that's how the idea came about with those earrings in the bottle. I got all these little bitty beads. What can I do with these things? So it was the thing of, oh, you know what? I need to do something with these. What can I do? And then the idea was packaging. What can I do? And 1, 2, 3, and 4. And it all just kind of came together, and it came out to be those earrings in the bottle. So now with those itty bitty beads that I use, right? I'm making sense of those. I'm using those with the earrings in the bottle. But all it is documenting. They call it bookkeeping. All it is bookkeeping. What you spend versus what you bring in. What you spend versus what you bring in. What you spend versus what you bring in. Now you have to determine what you want to charge per piece. There's no way I can sit here and tell you, hey, well, you know what, charge $125 for that. I can't tell you that. You could put a value on that. How much do you think you deserve for it? How much did it cost you to make it? Right? So you have to figure, kind of figure those things out. And then another thing too, when you do go out to these events, you can start your prices out high. You can start them out at a nice, comfortable, like at a high price mark, right? And then as time goes on, if you see that the audience or the market is not receptive to it, then you can always reduce the price along the day. But one thing is for sure, all the events that I've ever done, I've noticed that the high traffic point was between, I want to say 11 and 2. 11, like maybe 11 to 2 I've seen. So like if you start somewhere at 9 o'clock in the morning, and then you got those early birds that like to come real early and check everything out, and early bird gets the worm type situation, right? So they may not be the crowd that will want to pay $125 for something, right? Because they're looking for deals and what they can find in the very beginning anyway. However, if you know that the peak foot time is between 11 and 2, and no sooner than you start seeing that crowd start to really fill up and really fill up, keep your prices as your prices are, right? And then at some point, if the market is still not receptive to the price, then you can begin to drop it $5, $10, or something like that to see if you can. Now, you don't have to do this. This is just what I do. I mean, I do this because I kind of gauge the foot traffic. I gauge, the people, that are kind of there. And when people walk up to the table and the interest that they show in the product. But many times, if you have high quality, one thing I know and been know with these Beyonce tickets, I think I said that in the last video. People are going to buy what people want. If they want it, they're going to buy it. I don't care what the price is. So as long as you concentrate on quality, on high quality, you don't have to worry about anything, and then you adjust your prices according to the event that you're doing. And that's why I like them real high foot traffic events, because that greatens your chance of making more money, right? And then even with that, the more that you have, well, for me, that's what I do. I have sauce pieces. That might be the pearl earrings. It might be these little other earrings that I came up with, the other day, like these little things right here. These are sauce earrings. So if you at a high foot traffic event and you do have your higher price items there, I always have some sauce. And I tell you, you're gonna leave with some meat purchases, but you're gonna also leave with a whole lot of sauce to dip that meat in too. I'm gonna tell you what I know, right? But anyway, just wanted to stop by and share that. Why I use these little fake. I like it though. I really like how they're actually coming out. So it's doing well for me. So that's the whole idea. Somebody could always change out the cord if they want to. I'm just a little bit talkative today, but hey, wanted to answer the question and everything. So there has been a lot of questions coming through about pricing and um, how to price it, or how to keep up with expenses versus profit. And you just got to document. You really have to keep up with things to find out if you are in the if you're if you're making a profit. Document everything. And like I said, don't use a credit card and then use a debit card and then use cash, and it's too hard to keep up with that stuff. So if you just use one credit card, if you have it, because you could even have two different accounts at two different banks, and one could be for your business and the other one is the one that you just have, and then the one that you have at the other bank, that's only for your business. So that means that that debit card that you have is only for the use of your supplies and paying for your events or whatever it is that you do, right? So it's basically just tracking expenses versus profit. Expense, profit, expense, profit. But if all you have is expenses and never profit, you're not. I mean, you're going to always stand a negative. But if you get a profit, you have all this expenses, and then you eventually get a profit. You've profited from that expense, and it may not equal to the expense, right? And that's okay. And that's okay. So you consider, oh, okay, well, I'm not spending anymore. I'm not doing anything else because I could still use what I have to hopefully make a profit. And then that's the whole idea, is a profit. So if you're not coming out with a profit, it's not, your numbers is not right. But it should always be expenses and then profit. And then you always want your profit to be more than your expense. And it is a lot of bookkeeping, ladies. It is a lot of documenting of things. It really, really is. You got to keep track of stuff. You got to keep track of the numbers. And if you don't keep with track of the numbers, it's never going to make sense. It's always going to seem like it's difficult. But, once you get the hang of it and stuff, and I do know in the Jewelry by BDK Facebook group, there's documents that I have in there for tracking, for like all type of things for business and all type of stuff. So look under media and then click on files, and I've uploaded a lot of different product, in that group, for this purpose, for us to kind of learn some little simple basic things from. But anyway, guess what? We'll talk soon.